Shalom Akim, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahushai Ba'ashem HaKadosh. Double honors and salutations to the elders and apostles of Great Mystery Rule Well. This is Brother Nasha DC Camp with another lesson to edify the hopeful elect, okay? And just want to go into this topic real quick, man. It's concerning America's political system. It's all by design according to the Lord. Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahushai Ba'ashem HaKadosh, alright? And a lot of folks may have been talking about, the system is rigged. Yeah, the Most High rigged it that way. It's all part of prophecy. Okay? And the deeper you go, according to history, you understand the reason why the Lord Abba Shemeshai set it up that way. Okay? Because, America also has its origins in the Roman philosophy. And when you look at the Republican and the Democratic, so-called Democrat Party, all right, because America is not really a democracy; it's a so-called republic. All right, so America's so-called political system goes back to the system of the Romans. All right, of the patricians and the plebeians. All right, and the patricians are the so-called aristocrats. The wealthy and the opulent, of society. All right, the billionaires, the trillionaires, the millionaires. All right, and the folks that basically dictate policy. All right, and the plebeians are basically the working class. All right, and that's exactly what you have in America. All right, the majority of the so-called rich folks, you know, they have so-called ideologies of Republicans, so-called business. And the Democrats are basically like a party of what you call a mass mobilization, to get the people, to ask for, so-called social programs and all that stuff, right? So-called handouts. That's what Democrats have basically turned themselves into. But at the end of the day, it's all by design, it's all part of prophecy, because the similar elites that control the Republicans also control the Democrats. All right, so it's all smoke and mirrors, and that's how the Lord Yahweh Shema Shah has set things up. People complain that it's not fair. There's too much division in the country. That's where the Lord Yahweh Shema Shah set it up. All right, split up the country between red and blue. Okay, and I'm gonna get the precept from the book of Daniel. All right, it's gonna be from the Daniel chapter 7, verse 20. All right, Scripture says. Yeah, spell me out. Let me get it real quick. Yeah, I'm just shopping up. Yeah, something's funny going on with my phone, but not a big issue. All praises to the, the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai by Shema Kwakadash. All right. Daniel chapter 7, verse 20. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, all right, that's NATO, okay, the Roman Empire, and of the order which came up, and before whom tree fell. Okay, so it says a horn came out of the 10. Out of from those 10 horns, there came another horn, and it says, and 3 horns fell. Basically they bowed down. They gave in. To the new horn, and that new horn is America. All right, and the so-called 3 horns that fell, so-called British, the so-called Spanish, and the so-called French. All right, and then it says, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake great things. And that's what America is known for. Speaking boldly. The whole idea of American exceptionalism. The idea that America can brag over the whole face of the earth. it kind of makes people wonder. It's like, what the hell is going on with these people? What the hell? Americans so loud. They have no self-control and discipline. But that's the spirit of the Lord Abba Shema Shai has put upon America. All right. Then it says, whose Luke was more stout than his fellows. All right. So of all the horns, and the EU, all right, you can't really compare them to America because of America's might, okay, and America's economy. All right. So it's just beautiful to see how the Lord Yahweh Shemashah set it up. So I'll play this video real quick, and then you have an understanding of why America's political system has a two-party.
As we know, American politics is dominated by two parties, the Democrats and the Republicans. But that wasn't always the case. When George Washington became president, there were no political parties. None. What you may not know is that George was actually anti-party. He hated the idea of parties so much that in his farewell address, he spoke against them, saying, "The common and continual mischiefs of the spirit of parties serves always to distract the public councils and enfeeble the public administration."
Yep, so it's basically saying that all this so-called idea of parties basically weakens a nation, it takes away from people's focus to manage the affairs of the people, all right? So I'm going to read the book of Proverbs chapter 20, verse 24. It says, man's goings are of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua Ba'ashim Krakodash. How can a man then understand his own way? All right, so George Washington didn't really know, what was really going on in the spirit. They wasn't really pleased with it, but at the end of the day, the words of the Lord had to come to pass, and that's what happened. The Spanish, they gave into America. You heard about the Spanish-American Wars. You hear about the British and American Wars, and then you had the French and American Wars. So you just got to deal with it. That's all how the Lord Yabashimasha has set it up. Yeah, so all this planning of all these people forming new parties, so-called socialist parties, so-called green parties, and all that stuff, it's not going to work, okay, because the Lord Yabashimasha has set this in stone, set up the design of America's political system. All right, it cannot be changed because that's how the Lord Yahweh has ordained it to be.
Not having political parties was a good idea, in theory. In reality, it didn't work. Washington's successors created America's first political parties. Other countries, like England or France, have multiple parties. But America has pretty much always had two major parties, currently the Democrats and the Republicans. But don't be deceived. There are actually dozens of third parties alive and well here in the United States.
But at the end of the day, it's an illusion, okay? It's because the elites basically control whoever has access, to the floor. If someone from a so-called party, so-called Libertarian Party, Pirate Party, Green Party, Independent American Party, they manage to win a so-called election, they're not gonna really have any weight, all right, in the Senate, all right, or in the House, because the whole system is rigged, all right, according to the way of the Lord, Shema Shai. And that's why a lot of people are upset because they don't see things, the way they want it to be, all right. It's because there's a Most High's plan, all right. Things have to go according to how the Lord Shema Shai set it up, all right. So this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 29, verse 15. It says, woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord Yahweh, and their works are in the dark, and they say, who seeth us and who knoweth us? All right, and that's how you're able to understand how the system works, man. All this trickery and fake, promises to the people. It just lets you know that the so-called political system wasn't really made for the people. It was made for the rich, all right, to rule over the people with rigor, all right. And then you're gonna hear about protest. Yeah. So when you're going to hear about protests because the Republicans and the Democrats, they're not taking care of the people. And that's exactly what Judge Washington said. Enfeebles public administration. All right. America's infrastructure is fucked up. You have all these billionaires and trillionaires, and nothing is being done. The whole, jail system is full to the brim, it's running over. They gotta let people out. you know, and not convict people. Just give them probation after probation after probation. All right, and that's how messed up American system has become. All right, and that's basically what the elites want to do. They want to have control of the people. They want to keep the people working for cheap. And how the people sign up to fight the wars. All right, and then verse 16 says, "Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay." And the folks like to say America has its origin all the Judeo-Christian values, but it doesn't. All right, it seems like it does, but it doesn't. Okay, so it's just a facade, and that's why the Lord Yahweh Shah is pulling away that veil, all right, that covering that's been cast over the minds of the people. All right, when we read Isaiah chapter 25 or 7, all right, it says, "For the work shall say to him, shall say of for shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not." All right, or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding. And that's how the elites think. They think that they're the one calling the show, the one running, the operation. But it's the Lord's plan. All right, and then if you look at the book of Romans, chapter 9. Romans chapter 9, verse 19, it says, "Thou wilt say then unto me, why doth he yet find fault? For who hath resisted his will?" Yep. And then look at verse 20, it says, "Nay, but, O man, who art thou to reply, that replies against the Most High? Shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, Why hast thou made me thus?" Yep. So all these questions, they say because of the historical events. No, it's because of the Lord ordained it to be. All right. The so-called historical events are just, a way of the Lord expressing His desire. Because you got what happens in the spiritual world, and they have what happens, in the physical realm. Okay, and that's why the Lord rules. All right. The Scripture says that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. All right, and yep. So when this World War III is gonna kick off, man, both parties are gonna get on board. All right, because the elites called the shots. That's how the Lord Abashimashah set it up. All right, so there's nothing the American people can do. All right, because World War III is inevitable. All right, so I'm gonna read Book of Revelation, chapter 13. All right. 13 verse 11, and it says, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon." And that's what I just read from Daniel chapter 7 verse 20. All right, that's America speaking boldly, speaking all kinds of bold things against the Lord, coming against the law, statutes, and commandments of the Lord Yahweh Shai, because Esau has basically, made himself an enemy to the Lord. All right, he hates the Most High's covenants, and that's why he's destroying the earth. All right, that's his job. Esau can't really help it. Okay, and then verse 12 says, and he exercised all the power of the first beast that was before him, and that's the Roman Empire. Okay, and caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast. And that's what the so-called idea of democracy, ideologies of, fractional reserve banking and all that stuff, you know, whose whose deadly wound was healed. And that's the Roman Empire. Okay, so America is a reincarnation, all right, it's a reemergence of the Roman Empire. All right, it's that simple. For those that can see it. Then the final precept will be from the book of Revelation, chapter 17, verse 11. All right, it says, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the eighth. And that's America. He is the eighth. Okay, and he is of the seventh, and goeth into perdition. All right, and that's what America is destined for destruction. All right, the sacrifice. Elder Tahar, Apostle Tahar talks about the sacrifice. Yeah, Moses is going to sacrifice that lamb with the two horn. That's speaking all kinds of great things. And that's how beautiful the scripture is. So I'm just going to keep it short and keep it brief. I say, Ka Halaliam La Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Kwakadash. Tawada to the others and apostles, great Mr. Honorable, and I came out there preaching this gospel in sincerity and truth. Alright, just gotta keep on, praying, Lord, that Ba'Shem Yahushai gives you this wisdom, to understand and apply it. Shalom.